It all started in 1990 in Texas City in Midland State on Spring Street. Father Joe is going to a job at a company called Basket Hell. He planned to create an educational game for children and their children. Dave and Mary I. Dave is the boy who likes to play games. Mary I is a girl and a fan of the gym. Her mother Alice will be happy with her children. Basket Hell hires an old game developer to help realize their next project, in which I decide to gather stories from the past to create a game franchise like this. They all go with the title Baldi's Basics, so they started on the move to develop the educational game. After a few days in development, a Basket Hell employee named Michael accidentally brought some boxes containing circuit boards in which they were allowed to scan to have the movements of the characters for that educational game. When they were scanning and modifying textures and sounds, in some of the circuit boards had a malicious virus in the shape of an invisible humanoid with a yellow shirt, grey jeans, and red eyes. This virus is called Corrupt File 0. Corrupt File 0 is the most deadly threat that managed to get out of the game. Dave Joey's son decided to try the game to see as such. But when he was playing a lot, he found himself face to face with Corrupt File 0, in which Dave tries to defend, but realized the virus was too high. Corrupt File 0 creates a clone to mess with Dave's brain, causing him to have nightmares with the virus. Corrupt File 0 forces Dave to cut his face and Dave dies bleeding and transforming Vanice, his mother Alice and father Joey, and with Dave dead may cause evil. While the girl Mary I feels punished by her mother, but Corrupt File 0 appears at the door and creates a clone of the virus and gets into Mary I's brain. She could not bear what she did as her muscles began to grow. After this, Mary I became an ally called Malwari. Vanice and Corrupt File 0, they are going to avenge the education of Basket Hell. In 1991, Phil Gallagher was prepared for the last episode of Mr. Maker before the season of On Wheels. While I am about to record the series after the intro, but it was a failure since the file was quickly corrupted by the presenter and he began to create things very badly done, causing the Mr. Maker program to malfunction completely. After that, the program Mr. Maker was cancelled. Before Phil Gallagher retires, he goes to the elevator to search for Mr. Maker's creations. When he was collecting all creations, he finds Corrupt File 0, approaches Phil Gallagher to kill him, but Phil was smarter and dodges it. Phil Gallagher begins to run through the studio of Mr. Maker so that he doesn't catch him. Phil arrives at the elevator, but Corrupt File 0 hides himself. Phil Gallagher changes clothes, putting a purple bow, and leaves. Corrupt File 0 gets angry and sets the studio on fire. The figures, the cuckoo bird, and the materials were destroyed by fire. Phil Gallagher leaves the BBC studio healthy and safe but bad, since he passed out. Corrupt File 0, so that Phil Gallagher does not die. Corrupt File 0 gave remnant to the mouth of Phil Gallagher and revived. Phil Gallagher takes on the appearance of a school principal called Mr. Micah. Then he is going to a job at the school of Baldi that he was about to open up. In 1992, Basket Hell opens a Baldi's Basics school and hires Baldi as a ball teacher. After that, they started hiring members for the school, and one of them was Phil Gallagher, called Mr. Micah, hired as principal to watch over the school rules. Broomer, the floor drainer upstairs, she hires as custodian to clean the school. Lady Popper hires as assistant teacher so that the students are not late. And new students like Jump Time the girl, Gumboy the boy, It's a Mad Bully the bully, creative artisans the sock puppet, bonus prize the virtual reality robot, chalk of the thing the child's head drawn in chalk when would do mischief, Test Pick Sealed, and Tall Boy Herbright to the dark and new members, Bookwing, Hogwarts, Overdrew, Torkles, Spinner Girl, Rubiki, King of Magic Mathman, Dr. Frankie and Johnny. After a few months, Baldi will start the math classes, but a minor student asked the questions well, and a bad one, and he gets an F. Baldi gets angry and tries to hit him with the rule. The little student runs, so that Baldi does not catch. Other classes began to flee by hiding in the lockers. Baldi was unable to find them. After one of the students left the lockers, Corrupt File 0 dons a blue suit that Basket Hell has created. Students cannot see the face of the virus. Corrupt File 0 takes the students to a red door. The principal, Mr. Micah, tries to open but he can't. Corrupt File 0 pulls out. the suit and kills 5 students in the basement. The first to die was Tintin and the last to die Julia. After that, Corrupt File 0 put dead students in the blue suit and burn it with fire. Corrupt File 0 put out the fire with water and put a clone in the suit and burning and transforming a being called the burnt malware. The burnt malware. So Corrupt File 0, Malwari, burnt malware and Vanis are going to revenge against education at the Baldi school. Some other students run so that they don't hit them, but Mr. Micah appears and they are held in detention. While some students would be bored in detention, the burnt malware appears and begins to murder the other students. Then the burnt malware hides the corpses at the table. So Howdy the cowboy puppet goes with the students who were killed, and I keep their souls in the lockers. In 1998 a friend has a problem with his student and he goes to find the notebooks at school. After the student will go down to the elevator find Baldi and said that he is going to classes. Baldi realizes that the student is carrying the lockers of other students. Baldi goes to the student to hit him. The student gets to avoid the stakes and that Baldi caught him. The protagonist, she manages to pick up her notebooks and she goes to the elevator. But one of the elevator doors closes immediately after the student goes to the elevator and leaves the room. In the year 1999 Baldi decided to start his last class, so some of the students in the math class tried well and others badly. Corrupt File 0 the burnt malware, Malwari and Vanis were underground. They give control to the body of Baldi and Baldi. He hits all the students, they stab them, they cut them, and they bled them and everything. Baldi retired, but the police appear and they arrest Baldi. Baldi goes to jail forever. After this, Corrupt File 0 sets fire to the school and burns. Howdy transform the students into ghosts. How do you release the other souls of the students in the lockers? Howdy and the souls are going to avenge the person who killed them. All the students were removed from the school to all the members, except Mr. Micah, in which he was caught by Corrupt File 0 and his allies. They lead to a room in a blue basket hell suit. The allies put Mr. Micah in the suit and go. The ghosts of the students approaching he the person in the suit believing that he was Mr. Micah, but the debris falls and explodes causing Mr. Micah to bleed to death in the suit. After that the souls go to heaven. Corrupt File 0 the burnt malware Malwari and Vanis will remain there. In 2001, after the accidents and events of the Baldi's basic school that Basket Hell has created, Oswald Hauser was an independent investigator who recounts all the events that occurred in the Baldi school. Oswald opens the door and sees a box with a note from someone unknown. The unknown wants to visit Oswald. Oswald saw it was some keys to enter Baldi's school, so Oswald climbs in the car and goes to investigate everything that happened. Oswald enters the school without problems. In the school he found burned lockers and voted notebooks on the ground. He found blue tramp containing Mr. Micah's body and also possessed by his soul, in which he grabs Oswald on the neck to ask him, "Who are you?" "I'm Oswald, an independent investigator for normal." And Blue Trap responds, "I'm Mr. Micah, and I'm a school principal." Blue Trap counts all the things he has done in the past. The creation of the Mr. Maker program. I work as a principal at the school, and everything. So Oswald and Blue Trap find the cowboy Howdy. Howdy was I sent them Blue Trap to find Oswald. Oswald, Micah and Howdy, they are going to investigate Basket Hell. Corrupts Revenge File 0 and everything happened in the past. After a few months of investigation, Micah goes to the hospital to recover his body. Howdy and Oswald will follow the adventure. Baldi decided to leave the prison for the police. Baldi goes to Basket Hell and the businessman. Baldi somehow recovered the reputation. Then Basket Hell decided to make a university with new students and new members who will see you soon. Here in free exclusive edition. And end.